Yes, a very good morning. Right, so today we are going to revise the chapter of the audit of the items of the financial statements. Right, so this particular chapter, for IPCC, it is called as the vouching verification, and for new course, it is called as the audit of the items of the financial statement. In the new course, it is more specific. Like in old course, they will ask how will you vouch oblique verify the following building. In new course, they will ask how will you vouch oblique verify the existence of the building or the valuation of the building or the completeness of the building. Right, so without mentioning which assertion are you checking for, if you just write down the audit procedure, then that is suitable for the old course. Right, so old course student, even for you, what is there in the new course, absolutely valid. Only but that for new course student, you cannot go to the old course for reference because in your case, it is more specific. Right, but then what questions have been asked in the past exams? If you want to say cover last 10 attempts, RTP suggested, then new course students, you can also look into the RTP suggested question of the old syllabus also. Okay, so the purpose of me telling you this is that what I am discussing right now is related to both the old course students, the IPCC students also, and the inter students also. Right, so very important chapter, a very crucial, critical, scoring chapter in your intermediate audit. That is the chapter on the audit of the items of the financial statements. Right, the audit of the items of the financial statements. Right, in this chapter they talk about very important a few balance sheet items, and they talk about the checking of the profit and loss account items. Right, so this is what we call as the assertion level. Right, I'm not mentioning about the notes over here. Is that notes means they are talking about the presentation disclosure part. And presentation disclosure, the question is always asked, okay, what are the schedule 3 requirements? Right, so here what you study in your account syllabus, that is going to be relevant. Like say example, how the presentation disclosure as per schedule 3 is to be given for tangible fixed assets, for trade receivable, for sales, for purchases, for expenses. Right, so presentation and disclosure, here what they want, okay, what are the schedule 3 requirement? You see in our book, after every item of the financial statement being discussed, they've also given, okay, what are the schedule 3 disclosure requirements. Okay. Right. So now whenever you have to do the audit of any balance sheet item, you need to check for the ERCV. Right, ERCV and profit and loss account items, you need to check for the OCACC. This is the fundamental of this chapter. You cannot go ahead in this chapter without knowing this. Right, so these are the assertions addressed through substantive procedures which we study in SA 500. Right, so E over there stands for the existence. Right, then after that you have the rights and obligation. Right, so existence, whether the asset, liability, equity, interest, does it really exist? Then whether the asset is a right and the liability is an obligation of the entity on a given date. Then completeness, very very important, whether all asset, liability, equity, interest have been accounted for. Right, completeness. Right, so should not happen that the company is having 12 buildings and only 10 are recorded in the books of account. Company is having 200 bank accounts and only 150 bank accounts are reflected in the financial statements. Should not happen that there are 1,000 debtors of the company and only 700 debtors are recorded. There is omission to record the debtors. Right, so there has to be the completeness. Right, so what is the next one over there? There has to be the completeness, and they need to be carried in the books at their appropriate carrying value. So we talk about the valuation and the allocation. Allocation of the related income and expense to the profit and loss account. Like for fixed assets, depreciation, for debtors it would be the RDD. Right, so that's the allocation. Right, for fixed assets it would be repairs and maintenance, the insurance. Right, so that is for the balance sheet items, ERCV. So now you have to say, okay, I have to check the existence of the building. What audit procedure? Write down. I have to check the rights and obligation. What audit procedure? How will I check? Those are the points. Completeness is then what audit procedure? I want to check the valuation. So earlier what we used to say, I want to check building. So in building you used to check all of these. So randomly you could write any point anywhere. But now it has become specific. Okay, for existence of building is just an example I am taking. Right, so for existence, what audit procedure? For rights and obligation, what audit procedure? Right. And second one, we have the OCACC. Right. OCACC talks about the occurrence. Right. The occurrence, that whether the event or transaction has it really taken place. Right. So the occurrence. Second one, the completeness, whether all the transactions and events which have taken place, have they been recorded. Should not happen that there were 1,000 sales transaction, only 850 have been recorded in the books of account. Omission to record sales transaction, that would not be there would not be completeness in that case. Right. Then after that, accuracy, have they been recorded at the correct amount, have they been recorded in the correct period, that is the cutoff, and have they been recorded in the correct account, that is the classification. Right. So to put it more simply and in a more unseen manner in which you can understand, occurrence means whether the transaction which has occurred, is it related to the entity. Second, whether all the transactions, I'm talking about profit and loss account items, no, so that's why I'm telling transactions and events. Whether all transactions have been accounted for, have they been recorded at the correct amount, have they been recorded in the correct period, and have they been recorded in the correct account. Right, so that is whether it is related to entity, all have been recorded at the correct amount, in the correct period, and in the correct account. Right, so this is first the backdrop of the chapter which you need to keep it in your mind. Balance sheet item, ERCV, profit and loss account item, we talk about the OCACC. Okay, right. And now if I just quickly scan through this chapter of the audit of the items of the financial statement. Okay, see here they are talking about income statement captions comprising revenue and expense balance. That means they are talking about the profit and loss account items. Right, so occurrence, completeness, so that is our OC. And measurement, so now they have put the ACC together. What is the ACC? Accuracy, cutoff and classification. Right, that whether they have been recorded at the correct amount, right, in the correct accounting period, and also in the correct account. Right, so amount, period and the account. Right, transactions have been recorded accurately, so that is regarding the amount, at the appropriate amount, and further transactions have been classified and presented, so that is the correct account, and also recorded in the correct accounting period. Right, the correct accounting period, to some extent they've also covered it under the completeness. Right, and then you have the asset, liability and equity, for which I told you we have the ERCV. Right, existence, completeness, valuation and the rights and obligation. Right, this question is also there in your RTP May 20. Right, and the presentation and disclosure. Okay, right, so before we scan through the chapter, right, trying to get a hang of how the audit of the items of financial statements is to be done. Right, if I have a look at the question bank to see what type of questions are coming from this chapter, like I told you the RTP May 20, right, what does it say? Companies prepare their financial statements in accordance with GAAP, right, in preparing these financial statements, asset, liability, income, expense, disclosures in accordance with the accounting standard, explain with examples stating the relevant assertions involved in this regard, right, so you have to write down the ERCV, the OCACC, and for presentation and disclosure it is ORCVC. Okay, right, then there is a question regarding the buyback of shares, so again an accounting question over there. Very favorite of the institute regarding the shares issued at a discount. Right, what do we say? Null and void. A company cannot issue the shares at a discount. Right, so any shares issued at a discounted price shall be null and void. Right, then application of the securities premium account. So this is all the questions regarding share capital, no? Buyback of shares, shares issued at a discount, securities premium account. What is the application of the securities premium account? Right, it can be used for writing of preliminary expenses, writing of the expenses, commission on the issue of shares or debentures, premium payable on redemption of any redeemable preference shares, purchase of own securities and other securities. Right, so that is the application of securities premium account, right, asked 2 times in your exams and once in the RTP it has been put. Option on share prices, sweat equity shares, distinguish between reserves and provision, right, revenue reserve, capital reserve, then the disclosure requirement in Ind AS for the other equity, that is reserves and surplus. I am just showing to you what are the different varieties of question, then we will pick up a few points from those and discuss. Okay, the auditor is worried about whether the entity has valid legal ownership over the property, plant and equipment claimed to be held by the entity and recorded in the financial statements. Advise the auditor. right? So now he is worried about what? To check the ownership right, means he wants to check the rights and obligation, right? So you check the purchase invoices, are they in the name of the entity, right? Conveyance deed, sales deed, are they in the name of company? Original title deeds for immovable properties, are they in the name of the company? Given as security for any borrowing, then the confirmation from the lender and the register of any charges created. Right, so now see, this one is a specific question on what? It is regarding the rights of the property, plant and equipment, rights and obligation of the PPE, the property, plant and equipment. Right, so these are the audit procedures, not about existence or completeness or valuation and allocation, specifically regarding the rights and obligation. Right, so you want to check the ownership. So how do I come to know the ownership? One, either when the invoice is in my name or the asset is in my name. Right, so if I purchase a plant and machinery, that plant and machinery cannot be in my name, so the invoice has to be in my name, in the name of the company. However, if you purchase a land and building, then that could be registered in your name, so in that case we check for the title deeds of the immovable properties. Sometimes it could be mortgaged with the bank, a charge could be created, so even those points they put in the answer. This is a chapter which you need to absorb over a period of time. The entire chapter cannot be taken, cannot be studied in one go. This chapter you have to study it like a cough syrup which you get from the doctor, right? In case if you are having lot of cough, doctor gives you a small medicine bottle, and they tell you, okay, this particular cough syrup, this cough syrup you need to take it for 5 days, right? 5 ml every day, 3 times a day. Right, so morning, afternoon, evening, right, night, right, 3 times a day, 5 ml you need to take 3 times a day, for next 5 days. And likewise it says, so it won't happen that you are having cough, so you take the cough syrup and have the entire syrup in one go. Right, that doing the entire chapter in one go, that you can do for government audit, you can do for the cooperative society audit, you can study one standard on auditing in one go, but not for this chapter. This chapter, one question or 2 questions. And if you pick up 2 questions in one go, they have to be related. Like, if I'm studying trade receivable, I should also look into the trade payable. If I'm looking into provision, I same time study the contingent liability. Right? If I'm studying regarding tangible fixed assets, same time study regarding the depreciation. If I'm studying intangible assets, then same time there is a question over there regarding the R&D, research and development. That should be covered. If I'm studying purchases, sales should be covered. Right, so 1 or 2. Likewise, over a period of 15-20 days, you should finish this chapter and not in one go. Okay, you can revise in one go, but when you're studying it for the first time, it needs to happen over a period of time. Alright, are you all listening to me? Paying attention, no? Very, very important. Your attention is of utmost importance to me. Right, then different types of lease agreement, then existence under intangible fixed assets. See, look at the question in the RTP, MTP. What is it? The existence of the intangible fixed assets, right? So that is trademark, copyright. Then another question, the addition to intangible assets. So existence of intangible assets, addition to intangible assets, right? Then the specific assertions relating to the above extract, plant and machinery and so, right? Then what are the assertions you need to check? Name the assertion. So, what assertion are you checking by performing the audit procedure? So, reverse style question asked. Okay, when you attend the year-end inventory verification, you come to know the existence of inventory. Depreciation has been properly charged. So, valuation of the assets. Title deeds, rights and obligation. All liabilities has to be completeness. All means completeness. Related party transactions are shown properly. That is presentation and disclosure. Right. So, this is again a very important question over here. Okay, then what does the valuation assertion mean in respect of asset, liability, equity? Right, so they are asking about the valuation and how will you check the valuation of inventory specifically. Right, so any valuation which I need to check, you keep it as a thumb rule in your mind that you need to check the accounting policy. Right, any valuation, what I need to check the accounting policy. And we said, no, it's valuation and allocation. Right, so any corresponding expenditure, whether it has been correctly charged to the profit and loss account. Then purpose of providing depreciation, audit procedures for depreciation and amortization. Right, so how do you do the audit of depreciation, amortization? So overall question asked, okay, not any assertion. Then presentation and disclosure of depreciation, amortization. Right, presentation, disclosure question asked, and capital expenditure under property, plant, equipment, valuation of loans and advances, presentation, disclosure under trade receivables. So schedule 3 disclosures for debtor, right? That is a question asked over there. Current liabilities, presentation, disclosure of contingent liabilities, right? Contingent liability, how do you classify, right? Then purchases, completeness and measurement, audit procedures for other income, rent, expense, power and fuel, right? So just to get an idea of what varieties, presentation and disclosure of employee benefit expenses, right? And many such. Okay, in my book, all possible questions which are even little bit related to that particular chapter, I keep it in my book, right? So that it becomes a one-stop solution for you. Any RTP suggested for practice purpose you go through, but when you start studying from this book, your all queries and all your syllabus should be covered in this one particular book. Okay, right, so let's now begin with, right, say example. Let us look into the first item given. Yes, balance sheet item. It is more of your share capital, it is more from your accounts, right? So you can see it. So as we are doing only a few right now, say let me first come to the borrowings, right? Borrowings, what does it say? Audit procedures to check the existence. Now this is a chapter where entirely the opening ceremony, little only has been asked, so many others yet to be asked. Okay, right? So existence means what? Okay, whether really has the company taken a loan from the bank? Does a loan really exist? That is what you first make it clear in your mind. Okay, what is the question being asked? Right, so has the entity really taken a loan from the bank? Does a loan really exist? Right, so loan to be taken, first approval of the loan is required. Right, so board approval, for you go through the minutes of the meetings of the board, right, to check the authorization of the loan. Right, so to check whether a loan has been taken, and obviously for the fact that it is seen in their balance sheet, it would have been taken. So now what you check? The authorization of the loan. Right, then the loan agreement. Right, your answer would be incomplete. It would be like a body without a head if you don't mention about the agreement in the audit procedures for borrowing. Right, loan agreement. Whenever you take a loan from a bank or you take a loan from a financial institution, there would be an agreement entered into. There would be a loan agreement, right, from where you can study the terms and conditions of the loan, the interest, the security, the repayment, borrowing limit and so on. Right, then bank has given you the loan. Now at the year end, how much loan is outstanding? You can obtain the confirmation from the bank. Right, so then lease agreement, again, any hire purchase or lease, operate finance lease to be entered, right? Even that is a type of a financing activity only. So it talks about loan agreement, lease agreement, right? The minutes of the meetings and the confirmations from the bank. Trust deed, right? So now they are covering debentures over here. So they are talking about any finance lease activities, then any loan which you have taken from the bank, then any debentures which have been issued by the entity. So all types of borrowings are being covered under this heading. Right, so trust deed for terms and dates for redemption, borrowing restriction, retirement of the debt, right? So when debt is retired, discharge is received on the asset. So whatever asset has been given as a security, whether that has been taken back, and any unusual transaction to be verified, which is outside the normal course of the business. Right, so that is regarding the existence of the borrowings. Right, that is where we are talking about the existence of the borrowings. Are you all with me? Right. So if you look over here, okay, right, existence of borrowings, right, what are the audit procedures I told you? One, the confirmation, right, from the bank, financial institution, and also for the authorization, you can go through the minutes of the meetings of the board of directors, right, or the shareholders. Then loan agreement and the lease agreement, right, trust deed, retiral of debt, and any unusual transaction. Right, see, we can always create a point on our own and write which would be an equally justified point, but that will be, let's keep that as a last minute buffer in the exam where we are not able to remember the points or where we don't know what is the requirement given in the chapter. And it should be a combination of both. That few points you should know okay, what is specifically given for borrowings in the book, and then a few points you can add on your own. Right, so do you understand the confirmation, minutes of the meeting, lease agreement, loan agreement, right, and the trustee, retiral of debt, and any unusual transactions. Is it clear? Right, then the next one that they talk of over there is the completeness. What, see, I'll be just revising a few headings with you right now, rather discussing it with you. What I want you to develop is the knack of writing these type of answers, right? You need to develop the knack. You need to develop the knack of studying. Okay, what is the expected answer, what is the expected level of preparation for these type of questions? Right, completeness. Right, completeness, you always first need to keep that big word in your mind, all. Right. So whether all borrowing, they've taken loans from 40 banks. So whether all loans have been considered, they've issued different types of debentures. They've entered into different leasing activities, lease finance they've opted for. So you need to obtain a schedule, right? So for completeness, please keep this very important term in your mind, which is regarding the schedule. And again, in the schedule, we would like to track the movement in the account. That balance at the beginning of the year, additional loans taken during the year, loans repaid or which have been squared off during the year, and balance outstanding at the end of the year. Right, so this is not only for borrowing, this is for any heading that we will discuss. You have to know completeness means all. All, for that I need to ask the client for a schedule. And in the schedule, I want to see the movement which has taken place in that account during the year. Right, are you following what I am telling you? Right, so schedule, obtain a schedule. Yes, very important term. The examiner will come to know that the student has studied. Obtain a schedule of the short-term, long-term borrowing, including debt outstanding, showing balance, beginning and ending balances, borrowings and repayment during the year, and perform the following. Right, any evidence of any additional date obtained during the year, and tracing the entries to the general ledger. Right, so I told you, opening balance, addition during the year, repaid during the year, and the closing balance. Okay. Then debt activity, right, before and after the end of the reporting period, to check whether there are any unrecorded liabilities. Because what am I talking about? Completeness, all. So like I told you for building, so here also should not happen that the company has taken 20 loans from the bank and only 12 are recorded in the books of account. Right, so that is why all, it is completeness, so to check whether there are any unrecorded liabilities at the year end or the transaction is recorded in the correct period. Right, and again for this same procedure what you perform for existence, you can also check for you can obtain the confirmation. Even in existence we talk about confirmation, right? So here also we are talking about the audit procedure for the confirmation. For each lender with which the client had debt outstanding at the prior year end or during the year prepare or have a client prepare a confirmation request, you can always mention over here following the procedures laid down in SA 505 external confirmations. Okay. Right, so if I look at it over here, schedule, balance at the beginning of the year, borrowing, repayment, end of the year. Then debt activity before, after the year end, mainly to find out the unrecorded liabilities and the confirmations from the borrowers. Right, and valuation. So like, I'm telling you a few thumb rules over here. Right, when you want to check the existence, what is the audit procedure you need to perform? You can obtain a confirmation from the third party. Or like, if it is inventory or something, you can always do the physical verification. So like if it is debtor, we'll have to do the confirmation only. But for fixed assets, tangible, for the intangible, then for the inventory, we can also talk about the physical verification. Then the moment I talk about completeness, are you all paying attention? Right, the moment I talk about completeness, that always you can remember the word all and then the schedule, and then you need to check the movement. Are you getting that? And now third one, whenever I talk about the valuation, right, valuation, you always need to check the accounting policy because the accounting policy is going to affect the valuation. Right, so now coming to the valuation. Right, so accounting policy. So these are 3 thumb rules which I have given you right now. What are the thumb rule? Existence, physical verification, confirmation, completeness, schedule, right? And for valuation, you need to check the accounting policy, right? Right, so determine that the accounting policies and methods of recording debt are appropriate and followed consistently. Again, loan agreement, which we had seen in the existence of the loan. Recalculate the interest accrual discount or premium, because I told you, always with valuation, what was there in the assertions I discussed with you initially? The allocation. Right, so here what is going to be the allocation? The interest, the discount, the premium on the redemption, if it is debentures also. Right, the amortization of premium or discount, and in case if there are foreign currency loans, so what a wonderful point, then also if agree the closing exchange rate used and test the translation calculation. So in case if you've taken a loan from outside India, then also you need to do the translation, the conversion at the year end rates. right? The conversion at the year end dates. Right, so we've seen for existence, then for completeness, then for valuation, and then presentation and disclosure. That is directly picked up and patched over here from the Schedule 3 requirements. Right, that what are the Schedule 3 requirement, right? So is this asked as a question? Every piece, every word which is there in this chapter could be a probable question in the exam. Right, so that is the Schedule 3 requirement. Is it clear for everyone? Right, so what have I discussed with you right now is the borrowing. Right, borrowing, right? So are you able to make your own observations also, getting an idea कि existence में क्या लिखना होता है, completeness में, valuation में, and obviously as we go ahead you will get better and better at it. Okay, right. Now trade receivable, one of the very favorite ones of the institute, no, debtors. Right, trade receivable, again first thing they are talking about the existence of the debtors. Right, existence, okay, company is saying, oh, we have 10 lakh debtors. So what you want to do, you want to check the existence, okay, whether really 10 lakh debtors exist or not. Right, so one way, direct confirmation, and another trend analysis. So I can see these two friends over here together, 505 and 520, right, external confirmations and the analytical procedures. Are you getting that? Right, confirmations and the analytical procedures. Right, then you need to check whether controls are in place to ensure that invoices cannot be recorded more than once and receivable balances are automatically recorded. Right, so same invoice should not get recorded twice, otherwise it would lead to manipulation of the accounts, and reconcile the ledger to accounts receivable ledger to the general ledger. Right, so the controls and also the reconciliation. Then the aging report of the debtors, right? So to see since how long is this debtor existing with the company, or is it some bogus credit sale recorded in the past? Right. Then the calculations regarding how the debtor's balance is calculated, reconciling items if there are any journal entries, because as such journal entry is not expected. Like, it will not go through a JV, no? Right? It can go through the normal debt sales account, right? Sales debtors account. Right, realization is recorded invoice wise or not. So whatever money you receive from the debtor, whether recorded invoice wise or not, right, chronologically, date wise, or on FIFO and on FIFO basis, right? So the realization of the debtors, right? So existence of debtor, I take the last 2 points first. What are the last 2 points first? Confirmation and the analytical procedures. Then the controls and the reconciliation. Then the aging of the debtors and calculate the amount, right, of the invoices. Any journal entries which are there and the realization, right? So that is regarding the existence of the debtors. Right, so trade receivable, very important question. See, here also I have said that the first 2 points which you need to consider are what? External confirmation and trend analysis. That is analytical procedures of 520. Right, then the controls and the general account ledger. Right, the calculations, aging report, realization, reconciling items and the journal entries. Right, so that is for the existence of the debtor. Every time when you look at this chapter initially, the nature of this chapter is such that at the beginning it looks overwhelming. So right now looking at this chapter, if you are finding it up, if you've seen the video so far, that is first thing. If somebody stopped seeing it before this, I don't know. I don't want to comment on that. Okay, but if you've seen the video so far and if a thought of, कि this is like how, ये कैसे हर एक item का specifically दिया है, you will develop the knack over a period of time. You go through the entire chapter, you've cleared CA foundation, you've done CA and you're at CA inter level, so your intelligence, there is no doubt about it. You just need to give it the time and have the patience to study it. Okay, right, so that is regarding the existence of the debtors. Then now let's talk about the completeness. Completeness means what? All. Right, so whether all invoices, test invoices listed in the receivable report, right, whether all invoices have been accounted for, right, then very important over here, you need to check the cut-off procedures, that whether the stock, whether the current year sales credit sales have been recorded in current year and not that current year going into next year or next year coming into the current year, right? So also you need to track it with the goods dispatch. Right, so goods should have been dispatched and not lying with the company and included in closing stock. Otherwise, you've included it in sales also, shown it as debtors also, and the stock is also recorded. No, the stock should have been reduced from the closing stock of the company. Right. right? So you check for the cutoff and you also check for the dispatch of the goods, right? Not, it should not be included in the stock. Then invoices listed in the receivable report. Then match invoices to shipping dispatch log. This is a very important audit procedure, right? Whatever invoices with the goods outward note, you need to track the same, right? Sometimes we also check it the other way around, goods outward note, right? Sometimes we also check it the other way around, that goods outward note, we compare it with the invoices, right? Two-way checking you can do. What is one checking which you can do? Okay, for all the invoices which have been raised, whether goods have been issued, goods issue note. And for all the goods which have been issued, which have been reduced from the stock, whether the invoices have been raised, right? So here you can always do a two-way check, right? Are you understanding? You could always be doing the two-way check, right? So match invoices to the shipping dispatch document, match invoice dates to the shipment dates, again to check whether they are recorded in the correct accounting period. Then bill and hold sales, where the custody of the goods has not yet been taken by the customer. Receiving log, right? That inordinately large amount of sales return, right, after the period ends. So that means it could be an instance of bogus sales recorded as on the year end date, right? The system of giving discounts, any credit notes issued for the sales return, right? So then you have the discounts and the credit memos, right? So that is the heading regarding the completeness, whether all the debtors have they been recorded or not, right? So how do you check for that? The invoice testing, right? Dispatch log, bill and wholesale. Receiving is bill and wholesales, and the receiving log, that is the sales return. And then the cut-off procedure, system of discount, and the credit memos, right? Credit memos again for the sales return, right? Then after that we talk about the valuation, right? Valuation, again we need to check for the accounting policy, and obviously debtors valuation, it goes without saying that the first item which I want to talk about over here is going to be the RDD, right? The reserve for bad and doubtful debts, right? The provision for bad and doubtful debts, right? So the allowance for the bad and doubtful debts, the aging. Now look at the variety over here, the debtors under litigation, the doubtful debtors. Then you need to check the adequacy of the provision. Then any debtors which are written off, and again obtain a schedule of all the bad debts, and authorization for writing off the debtors. And then again the schedule 3 disclosures, presentation and disclosure. Right, so valuation, you need to check for the aging report, right? Because the more older the debtor, the more the amount of provision with that would be required. Then the RDD and the adequacy of the provision, whether the whatever provision has been made, whether it is adequate, analytical procedure, authorization for writing off the bad debts, the write-off, and also the debtors under litigation. Right. So likewise, you can keep on looking into the different headings, right? And keep on analyzing on your own. So say another one which I could discuss with you is regarding the fixed assets, right? Fixed assets, tangible fixed assets, right? They are talking about the existence of the tangible fixed assets, right? So existence, what did I tell you? Physical verification or the confirmation. Now in case of fixed assets, it can be physical verification, right? Also you can attend the physical verification, or you can get the physical verification report from the client. See, inventory compulsorily we have to attend, but property, plant, equipment you may attend, may not attend, okay? Then appropriate supervision of those performing the physical verification, right? So see, existence of tangible fixed assets, one point only they have elaborated on, that is the PV, that is the physical verification. Then coming to the completeness. Completeness means all, and all means schedule, and schedule means movement, right? Additions during the year, mathematical accuracy, when an asset, whether it meets the criteria for recognizing it as an asset, future economic benefits and cost can be measured reliably. This you would have studied in accounts again. Then what is included in the cost of the asset, what is excluded from the cost of the asset, right? So inclusion, exclusion to the cost of the asset, right? What is the heading? Completeness, right? So movement, right? The schedule, right? The additions during the year, then what is added to and deleted from the cost of the asset. Installation certificate, say for plant and machinery or so, for date of additions, for all additions to PPE, right? So because movement means opening balance, additions during the year, sold during the year, and the closing balance. So installation certificate is again regarding a point regarding to the additions to the asset during the year. Then authorization, right, of the purchase of the PPE addition. So again, authorization is a point relating to addition. Then procedures. So company would be having a standard operating procedure, SOP, right, for purchase of a fixed asset. Right, so the process of inviting the competitive quotations, floating tenders, work contract for capital project, and then they talk about the deletions. Right, what is the next point that they are talking about is the deletions. Right, so at least means as a backup in your mind, if you have it completeness, that means all means schedule means movement, opening assets added during the year, sold during the year, and closing balance. You can manage to develop some points on that basis. Right, so we are talking about which asset now? The property, plant and equipment. Right, we are talking now about the property, plant and the equipment. Right, inventory is there, and then after that we have, say, the tangible fixed assets, right, in which we have the property, plant and equipment. What is the procedure? First assertion over there, existence. Then second one we just discussed is regarding the completeness. Now coming to the next one, which is regarding the valuation. And valuation, what is most important over there? The accounting policy. Right, and here what is going to come under the allocation? The depreciation. Then they are also talking about the impairment. Right, so all items, whether it is except for the non-depreciating items like freehold land, all items as the depreciation has been charged. Method of depreciation, impairment assessment. Right, so here you need to understand their accounting policy for depreciation. Right, so valuation and allocation. And here they also have the rights and obligation, that whether the assets are in the name of the company. Right, so for plant and machinery, the invoice should be in the name of the company. Land and building, the conveyance sales deed, the title deed should be in the name of the company. This we had seen it in the question bank also. Right, then the confirmation from the lenders in case if they've been mortgaged with the bank. This also comes under clause 1C of CARO 2016, where the title deeds of immovable properties, are they held in the name of the company, and the register of any charges created against the asset. Right, so that is regarding the rights and obligation. And then you again have over there the schedule 3 disclosure requirement. Right, you have the schedule 3 disclosure requirement. Okay. Right, trade receivable, when you study that, immediately study loans and advances also, trade payables also, because they all go together. Okay, so let me come to one income statement caption now. That means I am now talking about the OCACC, occurrence, completeness, accuracy, cutoff and classification, or I can also call it as occurrence, completeness and the measurement. Right, the occurrence, the completeness and the measurement. Right, so occurrence, whether there is any overstatement of revenue, because obviously any entity will generally try to show more revenue. Right, so ensure revenue is not overstated by performing the following audit procedure. So I did not mention to you separately, but this could be asked as a retail question in the exam. Right, some of you might be wondering regarding the notes that I am referring to. No, see, whichever note material you have, you continue with that. If you want these ones which I am discussing right now, please open the ICI module. I have prepared these on those basis only. Right, little bit there would have been a change made, but the base is ICI module only. Right, so never panic about the notes. That is one big problem, because there are some practical limitations, right, mainly in the lockdown scenario presently. Right, so overstatement of the revenue. Right, how do you check that revenue is not overstated? Single sales invoice is recorded twice, or cancelled sales invoice has been recorded. Right, so same invoice recorded twice, or an invoice which is cancelled recorded is recorded. Any fictitious customer and sales recorded. Right, so one, what they are recording? Cancelled sales invoice. Second, fictitious customer and sale is recorded. Then shipments are done without the consent and agreement of the customer. He never asked for the goods. Sending. Unearned revenue recorded as earned. Substantial uncertainty about the collectability, and customer obligations are contingent on other actions. Right, so overstatement of revenue. What does it say? Cancelled invoices, fictitious invoices being recorded without the consent, unearned revenue, substantial uncertainty about collectability, and customer obligations are contingent in nature. Right, then for the occurrence, right, what are the other points apart from the overstatement of revenue, which could be a retail question? Serial number control, very important. Right, journal entries, then the supporting analytical procedures and the sales return. right? Serial number control, review the sequence of the sales invoices, any unusual transaction, supporting documents, that is the goods outward note or so, related to debtors only, no, right? You can always write a point regarding analytical procedures, ratio of sales return to sales and compare with previous year, and note down the reason for the increase or the decrease and the sales return. Right, so that is the occurrence of the sale of products and services. After occurrence, now comes the completeness. Right, completeness, whether all sales have been recorded. So very important for income statement is the cut-off procedures. Right, then credit notes, that means the sales return. Right, then shipping documents, that is the goods outward note. Right, sales register, quantity as appearing in the sales register, and check reconciliation of the goods dispatch as per the stock records, financial records and GST records. And then you also check the GST returns. Okay, right, so that is for the completeness. Cut off, credit note, shipping document, then stock record, financial record, GST record, and then you also have the GST return. Right, next one, measurement, okay, whether it is recorded at the correct amount and in the correct account. Right, so you need to check the recalculation. Then export sales, you need to check for foreign exchange gain or loss. Few transactions you check from inception to completion, which technically we call it as the examination in depth. Right, which technically we refer to as the examination in depth. Right, revenue recognition, I told you whenever we check for valuation, measurement, we always need to check for the accounting policy. Right, so the revenue recognition and also any related party transactions, are they properly authorized and are they reasonable and at the arm's length. Right, so that is for the measurement of the sale of products and services. Right, so we talked about the occurrence, after occurrence the completeness, then the measurement, and then as usual you have the presentation and disclosure. That is what are the Schedule 3 disclosure requirements. Right, so I have just gone through with you a few of the items of the financial statement audit. Right, you can continue keeping on practicing, and again please remember over here the cup syrup style of studying, that not studying the entire chapter in one go but over a period of time. Right, thank you so much.